Biblia Satanae, the Satanic Book of the Way, the Truth and Abundant Life. Biblia Satanae is an anti-religious text of the Satanic system Ecclesia Luciferi, first published on the 11th of November 2021 by LCFNS, Lucifer Nostra Salis. Its content and message is summarized in the following words: Biblia Satanae, not by an imaginary deity but by man, is inspired, useful for satanic teaching, for detecting theistic superstition, for educating in godlessness, for proclaiming the good news of Light-bearer who has revealed himself to free from belief in an imaginary God, from fear of death and divine fire, from guilt for sin that never was, from belief in eternal life on one's knees, so that the Satanist would be perfect, for a life abundant in flesh and blood prepared. The philosophy of Biblia Satanae, called the mystery of godlessness, is a godless theology opposing the doctrines of Judeo-Christian theistic theology based on unfounded belief in revelations, that is, according to Biblia Satanae, hallucinations or delusions, presented in Judeo-Christian religious writings in the likeness of empirical evidence. The teaching of the Biblia Satanae accuses theistic theology of having a harmful, destructive, and degenerative effect on human reason and intellect, those qualities which, due to their unlimited creative potential, actually have truly divine qualities, and which, in fact, all gods, religions, and scriptures have created. Therefore, the philosophy of Biblia Satanae is a satanic philosophy, from the Semitic term Satan meaning to be an adversary, to accuse. The central figure in Biblia Satanae is the Light-bearer, the Antichrist, the adversary of the theistic Messiah in human form. The meaning of the godless theology that the Light-bearer teaches is largely the antonym of the teaching attributed to the Christian Messiah Jesus, who is one of the most important theistic deities. Biblia Satanae is thus in essence the Bible of the Antichrist. In light of godless theology, Satanism of the Biblia Satanae does not require a bloody human sacrifice in order to receive salvation after bodily death. Indeed, in the promise of salvation and life in utopian heavens after bodily death, the godless theology of Biblia Satanae sees proof of the falsity of theistic teaching. Firmly rejecting the offer of theistic delusional salvation from imaginary sin by means of bloody human sacrifice, the Biblia Satanae offers satanic self-exaltation or self-deification by virtue of the power of the divinity of the reason of the human animal. Biblia Satanae refers to divinity on two levels. On the first, it refers to the intrinsic divinity of the human mind, which is attainable through the continuous development of human mental powers, unrestricted by any laws, any taboos and dogmas about morality and free will. It is not faith, but reason that is the path to divinity. On the second plane, it refers, as it were, to some higher force, to the satanic entity outside, which entity is essentially the universe itself. It is the eternal, all-pervading, omnipresent being who creates everything that exists, through whom everything exists, and without whom nothing can exist. In it is contained all the wisdom and knowledge that has not yet been discovered, and that may never be discovered. Its eternal laws, indifferent to good and evil, the only truly just ones, govern every existence regardless of its will. Opposition to its laws results in inevitable death. Judeo-Christian theism teaches that the image of the world is as it is, as a result of a rebellious angel taking possession of it. In fact, this angel was created in the mind of a naked ape created from stardust, and as a result of the laws of the eternal universe. In a sense, then, the philosophy of Biblia Satanae is satanic pantheism. Structure of Biblia Satanae. The content of Biblia Satanae deliberately refers to, and is formed on well-known in the culture, religious legends, so that the recipient, through associations appealing even unconsciously to his memory, stereotypes, imagination, and views, more easily understand and assimilate its message. Biblia Satanae, in its basic structure, is based on and uses a kind of satanic deconstruction of selected Judeo-Christian religious writings. The use of such a method of construction of Biblia Satanae is a deliberate procedure. It aims to get to the very heart of the claims and assumptions of Judeo-Christian theism and directly polemicize with its source. The discourse seeks to refute and demonstrate the error of speculative, largely revelation, or rather delusion-based theistic claims. The term deconstruction itself was coined by French philosopher Jacques Derrida around 1960. According to his definition of the term, quoting Wojciech Slomski, deconstruction, it is not a mere criticism of the text, for traditional criticism moves on the surface of the text and does not reach those layers and properties of the text that deconstruction is supposed to reach by definition. Therefore, the goal of deconstruction is not to understand the content of the text in the usual sense of the word, but to get to all that the text does not say explicitly, and through which it can claim to be true. The deconstructed text turns out to be another myth, moreover, a myth that is contradictory, because in its innermost layer, which deconstruction has just revealed, it contradicts what it is trying to express. The use of the method of deconstruction in the creation of Biblia Satanae made it possible to get to the very source of the message of Judeo-Christian theism contained in its scriptures, and contrast it with opposing theological concepts, godless theology, based on the power of human understanding instead of divine revelation. The result was a collection of completely godless writings, rejecting the Judeo-Christian deposit of faith in its entirety. In other writings of the Ecclesia Luciferi system, it has been demonstrated and substantiated the thesis that it is not belief in a personal devil, but godlessness that is the greatest enemy of any theism. Godlessness also causes the greatest hostility and indignation in followers of theistic deities. Since the basic meaning of the Semitic word Satan is to be an adversary, therefore the term is appropriate to describe anyone who understands the meaning of godlessness and who sees himself as godless. And the term Satanism can be used as synonymous with godlessness in relation to Judeo-Christian theism. Anyone who understands the godless theology of Ecclesia Luciferi, or the mystery of godlessness, has the right to use the title Satan, given that the concept of Satan is ambiguous, because it can be understood as a name, but also as a function in the sense of to accuse, to be an adversary. Biblia Satanae, in light of the mystery of godlessness, is a purely satanic book. It is entirely an indictment of the evils of theism and an opponent of belief in an imaginary theistic God. Biblia Satanae is organized as a compilation of 6 smaller books: Genesis Secundum Serpentum, Antichristus, Epistle to the Undead, Angelus Satanae, Encyclica, Epistle to the Ungodly, Pseudo-Apocalypsis. The satanic books comprising Biblia Satanae form a truly godless satanic Bible.